Hello and thanks for joining us for another edition of Northwest Newsweek. I'm Mitchell Ringos. Well, policing in the Northwest is about to get more collaborative. Thunder Bay and Anishinaabe-Aski Police Services have entered into a formal agreement to share resources and information. The landmark agreement was signed this week in Thunder Bay. Lee Noonan was there.
NAPS Chief of Police Roland Morrison joined Thunder Bay's new police chief, Darcy Fleury, to sign the partnership agreement at Thunder Bay Police Headquarters.
By working together collaboratively, we can tackle the issues that are facing our communities.
Just working together alone is going to make so much difference as far as how we tackle some of the crime that we're faced, some of the social issues that we're facing.
Morrison says the partnership is particularly important given the number of NAN citizens who live in Thunder Bay or travel through the city every day.
What happens here in Thunder Bay do impact our NAN communities and the communities that we police, and it's important that we have the ability to tackle these issues and tackle them together.
The two police services are committing to immediately increasing their sharing of information and of resources.
When we can put our resources together, do things that share our information and really do our best, not only for like Roland mentioned, the people that are living in Thunder Bay, but also the people that are coming to visit, people that come here regularly, and we can help really do our best to ensure that they feel safe coming to this community.
Information sharing between the two organizations has already led to the arrests in Webequie and Casabonica First Nations of two suspects connected to the death of 21-year-old Ivan Achnipaneskum in a Thunder Bay motel.
That we're all living in Northwestern Ontario together, so it's important that we work together and we be seen working together. The time is now to start working, and we know that the issues are many, but it's time to roll up the sleeves and get to work.
Another goal for the partnership is to foster growth and reconciliation through the sharing of police experience and expertise.
It's a bit of an opportunity for us to share experiences where some of our members perhaps might go to some of their communities, some of their members might come down to our community and just experience the different style of policing. So that's an opportunity to do that.
Officer exchanges won't be possible right away, with both police services saying they're facing summer staffing challenges. The earliest we might see NAPS officers in Thunder Bay or Thunder Bay police officers in NAN communities would be this fall. Lee Noonan, TBT News.
The chiefs of Anishinaabe-Aski Nation will be headed to the polls to elect a new Grand Chief on August 16th. NAN announced the date for a by-election via social media on Thursday. The by-election will be held during this year's annual Kiwewin Conference, where the leaders of the 49 NAN First Nations will vote on who should replace former Grand Chief Derek Fox. Fox was removed from his role nearly a month ago following an internal investigation which found Fox had breached NAN's code of conduct. More details regarding the election should be available soon at nanelection.ca. Kenora OPP have now announced charges following an alleged confrontation with a weapon on Highway 658 on Tuesday. The incident happened near Jack Lake, and police shut down the highway for several hours while they contained the area. A 64-year-old man was arrested and is facing 2 counts of pointing a firearm, 2 counts of uttering threats, and careless use of a firearm. The Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry has expanded its restricted fire zone and has now banned open fires in the entire province. There has been a total of 98 forest fires in the Northwest so far this year, compared to last year's slow season, which saw only 12 fires by this same date. Although the Northwest has been spared the worst wildfire impacts so far this year, the fire hazard remains high to extreme across much of the region. As of Friday, there were 25 active fires in the Northwest, most of them in the far north parts of the region. The MNRF says their fire crews are keeping busy and receiving support from local fire departments on several blazes. Only one of them, Sioux Lookout 7, is considered to be of note by the MNFR.
It is not the largest fire. It's the second largest fire in the region, measuring 9,285 hectares. And that fire is located north of Cat Lake First Nation. Right now, it's not under control. However, crews are continuing to solidify existing hose lines on the south end of the fire, and they're receiving helicopter bucketing operations.
Although some rain on Friday and a slightly cooler weekend could bring some relief, Bezubiak notes the temperatures are expected to be back above seasonal earlier next week. She urges people to be cautious and pay attention to local fire bylaws, which can be stricter than those of the province. The Kenora District Services Board has seen a concerning trend in the funding requests they have received from local community groups this year, with more and more organizations shifting their focus towards making sure kids can eat.
A number of years ago, a number of the proposals that would come forward to KDSB were focused on making sport, arts, and dance, as an example, affordable or attainable for children in poverty. We have seen a shift in the last couple of years where it's now more focused on food security.
The KDSB is dispersing more than $180,000 from their Child Poverty Reduction Fund this year. The money will go towards 13 programs across the district. More than half of those are focused on food and nutrition. CAO Henry Wall says the shift is a cause for concern.
There's just some things that are non-negotiable, like paying rent, like um, having gas for a vehicle and so forth. What gives? Families don't enroll their children in sport. Families don't enroll their children in arts programs. Families don't enroll their children in whether it's dance or gymnastics and so forth. But also they decide what to eat and what not, and when to eat. And so I think that's families are having to make some really difficult decisions.
Wall says they have long known that families on social assistance aren't able to make ends meet and the cost of living is only rising. Although he is happy they are able to support some important programs, Wall says there needs to be more funding available. The OPP in Greenstone will be moving into a new building in about 2 years as the existing detachment is too close to the open pit gold mine that is nearing completion there. The relocation could cost as much as $20 million. The Greenstone OPP detachment currently sits along the section of Highway 11 that is being rerouted to make way for the Greenstone gold mine. Next year, the mine will take over ownership of the existing station, which opened in 2008. The mine is in talks with the province to iron out a plan for the new building. Greenstone Gold General Manager Eric Lamontagne says the detachment must be moved to its new location by 2025.
With the progression to the pit to the west side, where is the police station, will start to be at 300-400 meters where each blast will need to evacuate, including all the people inside, and start to be very complicated to manage this situation. And
Greenstone Gold Mine will initially foot the bill for the construction of the new detachment, which Lamontagne says could range between $10 and $20 million, depending on the scope of final design. The company will be charging rent to the OPP to recoup its cost. Although it's not confirmed yet, there is a preferred location for the new station near the first bridge along the road into Geraldton. The OPP station isn't the only new building being planned for the Geraldton area. Up next, we'll have the details of a new truck stop that's in the works. Welcome back. We have some good news for anyone taking Highway 11 across the north, as a new truck stop is being planned near Geraldton. Once completed, it would be the only such facility on the roughly 400-kilometer stretch between Nipigon and Hearst. The McGeezy Commercial Plaza will be located at the intersection of Highway 584, where it meets the soon-to-be redirected section of Highway 11 just outside Geraldton. It will feature a gas and EV charging station, fast food restaurant, retail space, shower facilities, and a campground. First Nations owned Menodamin Development LP is behind the project. Indigenous Workforce Development Manager James Nord says the plaza will reflect Indigenous culture.
So we're planning to have it where it's going to be an eagle-shaped plaza, eagle-shaped. The building is going to be eagle-shaped, and we're going to have arts and crafts from the local 3 First Nations and beyond. It will be a community-based business, and all the revenue will go back to the 3 First Nations, profit sharing with the 3 First Nations.
Menodamin Development is fully owned by the communities of Azede, Arrowland First Nation, and Ganoogaming First Nation. In addition to serving the region and creating economic opportunity, they also hope the truck stop will help improve highway safety in the area. If all goes to plan, they could begin construction this year and complete the work by the end of 2024. MPP Saul Mamakwa is calling on the Ford government to improve gravel runways at remote airports in the north. The NDP member for Kiiwetinoong says the current situation impacts the type of aircraft that can service First Nations and drives up the price of much-needed commodities.
It's not an understatement to say that our community members' lives depend on reliability and timely air service and access to goods. Example, if you go from Casablanca Lake to Winnipeg return, you know how much it is? It's $3,200 return. And Webekwe last week, someone contacted me about the cost of gas. Speaker, a liter of gas in Webekwe is $4.59. The high price of gas is related to the type of planes that can deliver gas. We need better runways to improve delivery of goods.
We are there with investments to ensure that those runways, I've landed on every single one of them, are safe, Mr. Speaker, for cargo and for people. But I might say to the member opposite a couple of important points. It was his party that decided to support a carbon tax, Mr. Speaker, and fuel surcharges that are driving up those costs. It's that member opposite who voted against our initiative, Mr. Speaker, to reduce the cost of fuel for planes flying into the remote communities. And Mr. Speaker, so far we have not been encouraged by the member opposite or his party to build the kinds of corridors that would provide reliable road access into many of our northern communities. Now,
construction is just getting started on an 1,800 square foot extension to a senior center in Fort Frances. The Sister Kennedy Centre received funding from the town and province last year to complete the nearly $500,000 project.
Well, we're adding on so that the card players will have their own room, and the pool players will be moving out in the new part, and we're going to have a separate area for the exercise people.
The Sister Kennedy Centre is important to combating loneliness among seniors in Fort Frances and the surrounding area. According to Board Chair Debbie McTaggart, she says seniors come in from all around for a variety of activities. The new space will allow them to add even more activities to the roster. MPP Greg Rickford stopped by the centre recently to check out the work site and enjoy an egg salad sandwich.
Seniors who built our communities are going to have a lively, vibrant, dynamic space to gather.
With the expansion, it is exciting for everybody, for the seniors, because now they have more room to move, more areas. There'll be different activities coming in. Like just listening from everybody or hearing them talk, they are excited.
Construction of the new extension is expected to be complete this fall. The town of Fort Frances is holding on to its beloved Sunny Cove camp despite the costs, which are unknown but sure to be high. The town-owned camp just off Highway 11 has been closed since 2019 and sustained some damage during last year's flooding. Town officials say the repairs for just the main building, Russell Hall, is expected to cost $500,000. Although the total price tag to rehabilitate all Sunny Cove is still unknown, Council voted recently against selling the property. Instead, they have to approve 16 hours a week of maintenance work and an instructed administration to get started on planning and seeking funding for the project.
So many people of my generation, seniors, have very, very fond memories, and generations since then have gone up there as kids or sent their kids up there. So there's a very emotional attachment to Sunny Cove Camp and everything that it entails. And even though now times have changed and more people have cabins on the lake, it's one of those things, one of those institutions that remind you of your childhood, and people just don't want to let it go.
There's, I think, an opportunity to do some sort of business planning up there and see, what sort of activities we could be doing there to maximize our revenues.
The project will be costed out as design work progresses and council develops a vision for the site. Interim CAO Travis Robb hopes that in being decisive and acting quickly, they could have shovels in the ground as soon as the snow melts next spring. The town of White River is looking to attract new residents, with its proximity to nature being a selling point for many looking for a more tranquil place of life. There's also a lot of job vacancies for families seeking employment. Ian Campbell has the story.
When it comes to those who know White River best, one of the top contenders just might be its new mayor. Born and raised in the community, Mayor Tara Anderson-Hart runs Northern Emporium.
Well, aside from me obviously thinking White River is an awesome place to be, it has a lot to offer, especially to new young people, new immigrants to the country, people looking to relocate, that little bit more relaxed lifestyle, slower pace of life.
Located on the Trans-Canada Highway, there's even a train to Sudbury if you're looking for a more direct or scenic route. The community has served as a beacon for those who enjoy the outdoors with fishing, hunting, and trapping. But the big selling point right now are the available jobs.
There's been approximately 90 to 100 jobs continuously posted in White River and in all areas, whether it's an administration type position, laborer, engineering, just a huge variety of jobs. The service industry, of course, is always taking a big hit. So there's a lot of jobs available for teenagers. So if you're coming and you're bringing your family, your spouse and yourself are very likely to get really good jobs, and your kids are also likely to get decent summer jobs.
So we are the biggest employer here in White River, and we're currently producing 110 million board feet, and we have plans to move that to and increase that to 140 million a year.
And for those hoping to fish, the community has you covered with a stay at Hammer Lake.
Growing the business has been getting better. We do have a lot of repeat customers that will come 3-4 times a year. We do have some guys that come 8 times a year. Fortunately, they don't live too far away. We always hear good feedback.
Then there's a love of Winnie the Pooh. Well, it may not be necessary, it's encouraged. And it's the community's claim to fame as the home of the real-life Winnie.
So I think there's kind of something for everybody. It depends what your goals are. Very goal-oriented on whether or not you come to a small town like White River.
Whether it's to live, work, or play, it's never looked so sweet in White River. Ian Campbell, CTV News.
And the NHL's first Inuk player was in Thunder Bay this week. We'll have that story after the break. Welcome back, and like we were saying before the break, the NHL's first Inuk player, Jordan Tootoo, was in Thunder Bay recently, speaking about mental health and resiliency in an event hosted by the Mattawa Health Cooperative. Lee Noonan was there.
The land is what I needed. The land is where we heal as Indigenous people.
Former NHLer Jordan Tootoo shared lessons from his own life with a crowd of Mattawa community members in a speech that touched on themes of resilience, vulnerability, self-love, and overcoming trauma, addiction, and loss. He encourages people to take their healing into their own hands, get out onto the land, and to start journaling.
To find that inner confidence and that contentment and being in your own skin takes a lot of work. So I encourage many of you to put pen to paper and to reflect on life.
Tootoo says his goal now is to give back to Indigenous communities and help them break harmful cycles. But of course, he also answered questions about his career in the NHL and addressed the racism he faced on the ice.
As Indigenous people, we tend to shut down and think it's our fault. Ultimately, you can't control what other people say or do towards you. Be proud of who you are, be proud of where you come from, and work to be the best version of yourself.
The event was organized by Mattawa Health Cooperative's team of youth recreation workers.
Having someone like Jordan Tootoo to come and speak, and with his status of being an NHL player and the first Inuk player, definitely gives some Indigenous youth empowerment to become better versions of themselves.
Keeping a positive outlook on life and how sobriety can help in so many ways, and especially in Native communities. And I think it's just a positive that we talk about it.
What I learned from today was that everything starts with our youth. We need to get them out of the house and help them develop into young adults.
Young and old, attendees all seemed to enjoy the event and appreciate Tootoo's words of wisdom.
You just shook hands and got an autograph from Jordan Tootoo. How was that? How was meeting him?
Cool. It was pretty exciting for me. I was shaking right next to a legend, a stud.
Jordan talked about being on the land and how that is our way of healing as Indigenous people. I see it, I've experienced it, so he's right.
Lee Noonan, TBT News.
Oshki Wenjack Education Institute celebrated the graduation of over 70 post-secondary students in Thunder Bay this week. The graduates came together with their family, friends, and community for the momentous occasion. President Laurie Deschamps says this ceremony was more than just a celebration of academic accomplishments. It's a testament to the strength, perseverance, and potential of all the graduates. All learners in the Institute come from NAN communities, and with the Institute's blended delivery model, the students were able to learn mostly in their own communities. Police Foundation's graduate Gina Dorr offered some words of encouragement for those thinking about going into post-secondary education.
Reach for the stars. You can do anything that you want to, and you could be successful, and go for it. The sky's the limit.
We're very happy that they were able to accomplish their program. We're very excited, very happy. It's our 21st graduation. We've been in existence for a long time, and congrats to all our graduates.
For the first time in a decade, a cruise ship has ventured east of Silver Islet, making a stop at Battle Island near Rossport recently. Officials with Superior Country Tourism say it's just the beginning for cruise ship visits in the region. The Viking Octantis made a stop to visit the Battle Island Lighthouse. Roughly 150 people disembarked there to explore the island and enjoy a cup of tea and bannock. Interpreters from Pays Plat First Nation and Red Rock Indian Band shared local history and Anishinaabe culture. Superior Country Coordinator, the On-Land Experience Executive Director Dan Bellevaqua says they were able to capitalize on the success Thunder Bay tourism has had to attract cruise ships further along the North Shore.
We heard
from the guests themselves that it was one of the best on-land experiences that they had on the cruise. Some of them even saying one of the best on-land experiences they've had in several cruises.
It looks very nice, and we have talked to local guides and so on. So they said it will be nice. So we'll put down all the toys in the water and go around and expedition and so on. We will see how it turns out this year, and if it's good, then we will keep it.
There are 4 more ships visits expected at Battle Island this summer, and a new stop in Red Rock being planned for next year. Bellevaquois says the visits bring direct economic impact through fees they collect for on-land experiences, as well as other costs like marina fees. He expects to see the interest grow as cruise goers come to know and love the region. And that's all the time we have for this edition of Northwest Newsweek. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.